أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear viewers, we will discuss about Surah chapter number 107, Surah Al-Maun, chapter Al-Maun, verses 1 to 7. Here Allah clearly describes 7 verses where we will find out the characteristics of the disbelievers of the final judgment. And as this chapter clearly describes some very regular important characteristics of the disbelievers of the final judgment, so that we can we can find out the characteristics of the believers as the directly opposite from these characteristics. Let's dive into the verse, what Allah says about the characteristics of the disbelievers. Chapter number 107, Surah Maun. أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدعو اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ. Here Allah says, have you seen the one who denies the final judgment, that is on, who repulses the orphan and does not encourage the feeding of the poor? And so woe to those who do salat and who are unmindful of their salat, those who make show off and refuse to give even the simplest aid. So here Allah clearly describes some the characteristics of the disbelievers of the final judgment. أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Have you seen the one who denies the judgment? فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي. Then that is the one who يَدُعُ الْيَتِيمِ repulses the orphan. So orphan has a very direct right in our society, very direct and important right. They have so many rights that Allah describes Allah different verses in this Quran. So you can't rebuke, you can repulse the orphan. We must give them their rights that Allah describes in the Quran. So disbelievers of the final judgment, they repulses the orphan. If we are not believers, we must not repulse the orphan. We must give their rightful rights, the orphan. Then, وَلَا يَحُدُّ عَلَى طُعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ, and does not encourage the feeding of the poor. So the disbelievers of the final judgment, they does not encourage the feeding of the poor. Not only feeding the poor by yourself, you must encourage others. You must make the society who willing to feed the poor, so that poor, the miskin, can get their meal when they are lack of foods. They must be assisted by the believers, by the social believers of the peoples. Then fawailul lil musallin. So to those who are in the salat, who pray salat, alladhina hum an salatihim sahun, those who are do their salat, but in their salat they are unmindful in their salat. They are not cautious about their salat. They are neglectful about their salat. So in salat you must be cautious. You must not be unmindful. You must be mindful about the salat. You must protect. We must protect the salats if we wanna get into the believer section, believer group. Then الذين هم يراعون الذين هم يراعون. Then those who only show up, the showing of your devotion, showing of someone's devotion is not a virtue, good virtue. Allah describes the showing of the devotion, the prayers, the ibadah. It's a showing off to others for the reason to show off others is not the characteristics of the believers, it's the characteristics of the disbelievers. So we must refrain from showing off our ibadat. Other than what normally people see, it's not matter. But in by intending showing the one's ibadah, one's devotion, it's prohibited in Quran. By Quran, it's prohibited because it's not permitted by Allah. Because the ibadah, the devotion, only for Allah, only for the Rabb. Then وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ, and refuses to give even the simplest aid. So refuses to give even the simplest aid, or refuse or rebuking or denying the assistance, simplest assistance or little assistance to others is the characteristics of the disbelievers. So if we wanna be a believer, we wanna be successful as a believer, we wanna get the mercy of Allah, we must assist people even with simple assistance, even with simple kindness. Though the term is simple, though the term is little, but in Quran Allah indicates it is the very important virtue of the believer who don't deny to give others simple assistance by means of lending their very trivial regular items to others, to neighbors, or any types of things, or giving, sharing information for the goodness of the people, or sharing the goodness of the society, or pushing up any simple activities that can create that can that can profits the society. So it is all sorts of activities, simple and little costing activities, that can encourage the society, that can enhance, that can uh, make prosper for the society. It's all may be included in this وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَعُونَ. So in the simplest aid. So if we are the believer, we must assist people with our simple assistance. The big assistance, oh, obviously it is the very important matter, but we need so many requirements, so many preparations for big assistance. But for simple assistance, no need to do very big arrangement. Anyone can assist others with their simple kindness, but little kindness. So it is a very important. Hope you will understand all the verses, chapter number 107, Surah Al Maun. May Allah give us the proper reliability and responsibility according to this the verses and the understanding, so that we can memorize all the verses, and we can refrain from all the disbeliever, all the characteristics of the from the of disbelievers, and we can be included in the believers section, in the believer groups. Thank you very much.